Good evening, everybody. Bonsoir à toutes et à tous. Welcome to Catalyst Canada Honours 2017, and thank you for joining us this evening in celebration of 5 outstanding Canadian business leaders. I'd like to start with some very important thank yous, and the first goes to our dinner chair, RBC CEO Dave McKay. Dave, thank you for being my wingman, 2 years running, and for making this event and Catalyst's mission a personal priority. Thank you also to RBC for sponsoring tonight's dinner and for your ongoing support for our global research and national advocacy. You are a true and critical partner. In keeping with tonight's theme of Leadership Redefined, RBC has placed a leadership block for each of you on your tables to take home. These little blocks are a great reminder of the elements needed to lead in the 21st century. And Dave, because I know you like disruption, if people start throwing them at each other later, I know you'll be good with that. They're all very soft and squishy. I'd also like to thank our video sponsor, Deloitte, who not only took on our video project with energy, enthusiasm, and creativity, but they also hosted Catalyst and RBC in their fantastic Deloitte greenhouse to help us imagine and plan tonight's dinner. And to CIBC, who sponsored today's 2nd annual Corporate Board Summit in partnership with the 30% Club Canada, where we welcomed Katie Telford, Chief of Staff to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Katie, I can't thank you enough for your candid views today, so thank you very much for being here. And one little added extra, Bill Down. I know you said I shouldn't say anything, but you know I don't follow the rules of what you tell me to do. I would like to thank you for being here tonight. You made a 10-year commitment to Catalyst, both in Canada and Catalyst Inc. globally, and we are delighted to have you here at this dinner, so thank you. And finally, thank you to my incredible Catalyst team, who I believe are sitting over there, and I'd like you all to stand. I'm honored to work with such a dedicated group of people whose commitment and perseverance are unparalleled, so thank you from me. Tonight we're here to celebrate 5 leaders who embody our theme, Leadership Redefined. But what does this theme really mean? Well, as Canada's workplaces are exploding in diversity, and the skills required to lead teams effectively are changing. Leadership Redefined means rethinking old definitions and creating a new vision of leadership, one that enables us to harness diverse talent and drive equal representation at all levels, in all professions, and in all walks of life. And this year's champions are showing us the way. Kim, I'm going to start with you, and you know why. It's because I think you've done the hardest thing of all, which is to lead from the middle. And for those of us who know you, we all know that you've done it in the most humble and authentic of ways, and you've made amazing results at EY. Ken, I know you're out there at a table close by. There we go. You're an incredible example of how you can make a difference in the careers of many and in turn for your firm and your profession by stepping outside of your comfort zone and becoming an ally to those who are different from you, both inside Deloitte and beyond. Pierre, you've built an outstanding reputation at BDC for being able to identify and develop talent, which for you has always included gender and racial diversity. And you've extended that reach now by financing a growing number of female entrepreneurs across Canada. Victor, since taking the helm at CIBC, you've leveraged your role in corporate Canada to change the gender equality conversation from why to how, and to include men fully in the journey. And you also share my secret plot to turn the 30% Club into the 50% Club, and that just rocks. And Chris Huskelson, represented here by 2 women from Emera. For those who don't know Chris, and unfortunately he couldn't be with us here tonight, but for those who don't know him, his pride and drive to build and maintain a strong Atlantic Canada has propelled him to engage, develop, and sponsor all talent, and in particular women, to the most senior levels of Emera. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you for showing us how your leadership redefined, is making a true difference in your workplaces. Now, some of you may be surprised that 4 out of our 5 honorees tonight are men. I'm delighted to share that in addition to the 21 women that Catalyst has honored since 2010, as of tonight, we now include 15 men among that group. Recognition that it takes both women and men to make a meaningful difference in workplace gender equality. All of these leaders have stepped outside of cultural norms to declare quite publicly that gender inequality is not a women's issue, but rather it is both a business and a societal issue. This requires courage, humility, and resolve in the face of resistance, and this is leadership redefined. Well, what a difference a year makes, right? This time last year, we were gathered on the eve of the US presidential election. This year, as a fun alternative, we can all gather on November 8th to commemorate the anniversary of the election by joining forces with thousands of Americans to scream helplessly at the sky. I'm not kidding. Google it. This is a real thing. Now, while I'm not quite at the point of screaming helplessly at the sky, this past year has been very instructive for me. In fact, I'd say this past year is best described in the words of Gloria Steinem, who spoke recently in Toronto and said, "The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off." A few weeks ago, I was sitting on the couch with my 15-year-old son, Jack, who's here tonight, and I can see him over there, lamenting the lack of real progress for women in senior management roles and on boards of Canadian companies. In fact, I'd just come out of a roundtable with the OSC where the most recent numbers were the focus of our discussion, and these numbers are not moving very quickly. Out of nowhere, Jack says, "Mom, you have to stop measuring yourself by those numbers. Numbers are just numbers. You're doing other good stuff." And I said, "Believe me, a lot of people are watching those numbers. Everyone studies them for the slightest variances, and a lot of people are watching me and what I'm doing to impact those numbers." So Jack listened intently, or as intently as a 15-year-old can, looked over at me and said, "Mom, I hate to break it to you, but you're just not that famous." So feeling much better after that mentoring chat with my son, I started to think about the substance of Jack's words, and I realized that maybe he was right. This has, in fact, been a very important year for Catalyst in Canada, and as Jack says, we're taking some bold steps forward. For instance, this year, Catalyst and the 30% Club Canada activated the voices and voting power of 16 institutional investors representing over $2 trillion in assets to engage directly with the boards of the companies that they own on the topic of representation of women in leadership. Through the Catalyst Mark Leaders program, and for those who are not familiar with Mark, Mark stands for Men Advocating Real Change. We're breaking down the cultural norms and unconscious biases that are among the biggest barriers to lasting change. And earlier today, with Katie's help, we announced the coming together of 7 of Canada's most influential governance and gender organizations to form the Canadian Gender and Good Governance Alliance. This alliance is designed to amplify our impact and deliver a unified and expert voice on gender equality at the highest levels of corporate Canada. Tonight, I'm also thrilled to announce the launch of the Catalyst Accord 2022, which asks companies to make a public commitment to strive for gender balance on their executive teams and their boards of directors. Our goal, 30% or higher by 2022 across corporate Canada. Now, if you look at the screens behind me, you'll see the amazing companies that have already pledged their commitment, all 34 of them. And this is launch date, so 34 on launch date. These companies are sending a powerful message to the business community that the status quo is no longer acceptable when it comes to the lack of women on boards and in leadership positions. They're role models for others, demonstrating that leadership and accountability starts at the top. Please join me in celebrating the companies in the launch class of the Catalyst Accord 2022. And we look forward to announcing more companies in the coming months. So I might be biased, but I think Jack's right. Your support of Catalyst is enabling us to do good stuff. You're backing the right horse, and that will translate to more talent, greater innovation, and better outcomes for your companies and our country. As Canadians, we have an incredible opportunity right here and right now to lead in building a truly inclusive, gender-balanced society. I'm pretty sure screaming at the sky won't help, but redefining how we view leadership and how we show up as leaders every day will. Every person in this room is a leader. What we do, what we say, and how we choose to be inclusive matters. I encourage you to think about the type of leader you aspire to be, then tomorrow go share that vision with someone in your office and inspire some reflection in them. Because together we can redefine leadership for tomorrow, and each step forward brings us closer to a brighter future for all Canadians. Thank you, and enjoy your dinner.